take me through the first play of the game with Eskelson, and he's identified things with him one-on-one sometimes, and he's made plays. Just how it was obviously probably scripted, but you had other options. But how would you describe just how that plan folded and the plan for that play?
Yep. Credit to Jake Waters. That was his idea really early in the week with just kind of how jumpy those corners were, and they were, pattern read guys that were going to read the footwork of the quarterback. So we felt like if we got one of those in early, it would allow us to be able to throw our quick game a little bit easier throughout the game. Certainly didn't anticipate getting corner crash to that look necessarily, but it kind of all fell into place. But credit to Coach Waters and credit to Rocco and Brett for a great throw and a great catch. But yeah, we like to be aggressive early in games, as you guys have seen a little bit, and that was a great way to go out there and kind of set the tone.
And the way you guys have moved it in these past 3 losses, I was asking Brad, does it feel like in terms of the explosive plays, the execution, that you're this close to blowing the lid off of that and having that translate more into points versus tons of yards?
Yeah, it does. I agree with you. It's frustrating because you do feel like you're just an inch off and you don't care about the yardage and all that kind of stuff if you're not getting the results that you want to get. So for us, it's just about, finding, from myself, like the last 3 weeks we've been an inch off, and it's my job to figure out how we could get that to all be on the same page and be, click on all cylinders, and we're close, and we're, working tirelessly to do it. But it's more frustrating when you feel like you're clicking, in a lot of areas, and then you're not, and the pattern of it's just a hair off. So it has been frustrating. We feel like we're close to figuring it out, and hopefully, next week is the week that we could go and make some of those corrections.
With your run game, does it feel like maybe it's finally evolved to the point where you've been trying to get it where with 2 guys, really playing well right now?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big challenge that we had a couple weeks ago. Was, we were in the bottom of the conference and being able to run the ball, and we have the right mentality with those guys in the room, and it was like we had to choose to go do it. And it's a mindset when you're going to run the football. Our running backs are really good, our O-line's really good, our tight end's really good. Like, we were underachieving in the front 7, and it was a challenge of physicality that we could go out there and be able to run the ball. So I really appreciate the mindset that those guys have taken on to be able to, be butt kickers and go out there and be able to win the line of scrimmage. So it's been awesome to see just Abu and Carson and Dylan Lee and Aiden Flora be able to go in there, and when their name gets called, it's like run hard. And you see those guys like running downhill or not dancing around people. Like, they're setting the tone for our offense by being physical downhill runners, and it injects energy into the rest of your offense. So I've been really proud of those guys.
And since Saturday, Taylor, have you had to kind of readjust the season-long goals? What is it that you guys are galvanizing around for these last 4 games?
Yeah, I think just to kind of circle back on the question, when you feel like you're just a hair off in certain areas, you have to kind of shrink your goals down and keep the things small. When you look at the big picture stuff of what we're not going to accomplish this year, or what we wanted to, didn't want to, it's overwhelming, and it's just noise. That's taking away from why we're not scoring as many points as we are. So it's, look in the mirror time for everybody, for myself, to feel like how can we be an inch on, because I have no doubt I'm gonna look back on this season and these games are gonna haunt me forever because of how close we were. So for me, it's like, how can we watch it and get better? And there's enough for me to worry about. That's not the long-term goals. Like, my favorite thing about these guys, about our team, is the tight ends and Rocco and the players. So like, I love getting to spend time with these guys. Like, they're the best kids to go through hard times with because they work. And they'll do anything they can to get it back on track. No one's pointing fingers. Everybody here feels like it's their fault. So they're the guys that you want to work through hard times with. That's what makes it fun and makes it awesome here. So for us, like, everybody's, doing their part to get this thing back on track and to win football games. So the long-term goals, short-term goals for us, like, how can we continue to sustain drives and score more points and be just a little bit better in the moment, which we haven't been, I haven't been. So that's enough, for me to worry about right now.
Rocco's been, pretty tough on himself to us after the last 2 games. What have you seen from him, and what are you telling him right now?
Yeah, well, Rocco is one of the most competitive people. He hates to lose more than he loves to win, and I'm the same way. So, like, the losses hurt all of us. And after the games, like, I tell him I love him. Doesn't matter that we don't get mad about certain stuff or each other. Like, I love him because I know what he's about. I know how much he cares. I know how much the community, the program, his teammates, I know how much all of it means to him to go and win. So it's, when we're not getting the results that we want, it's frustrating. And he's a guy that's a great leader because of the accountability that he takes. And I hate it for him, you know, and I hate it after the games because we're not getting what we want. But for him, like, I want him to know, like, I love him, I care about him, and we'll get it fixed. Like, he's the same quarterback when we were 5-0 and when we, you know, beat Miami and won 11 games last year. Like, I'll be better for him, and he feels the same way for me and us, and so does Brett and Gabe and Ben and James Neal and Tyler Miller and all those guys. So I don't ever want him to feel like any of it's his fault, or any of our players to feel that way. And when you're the quarterback, you carry a heavy burden already, and it's already, you get a lot of credit when it goes good and not when it goes bad. And he's a legend here. Like, he's one of the greatest to ever play here, and I don't want him to forget that because we've lost a couple games. Like, there's nobody else I'd rather go to war with than him, and he knows that, and the kids know that. So for him, like, I want him to have fun playing football. I want him to be confident. I want the guys to play confident. We're not playing as confident as we should be. And we're a hair off in some of the areas that we should be, and we're pressing a little bit more because of the results and the circumstances of our losses. And I understand it because it's so important to everybody. But when you're not playing confident and you're pressing, you're not having as much fun, and the game becomes more stressful. We got to get the joy back into it a little bit more and play a little bit looser and have more fun. So for me, like, I like going out to practice. It was excited to get back on the field and be able to, you know, I've talked to you guys about how much more immature I am than him. I could go and rub that off on him a little bit, and we can have fun at practice, and we could go work really, really hard. And he had one of his best practices today because he's a pro.
How difficult of a situation is that to pull out when you're talking about playing with joy, playing with confidence when you've lost 3 games in a row? It seems like it can spiral, probably.
Yeah, it's hard, but to circle back, like, you got to just keep your focus on the right stuff. Like, when adversity happens, the only thing that I know how to do is to just tunnel in my focus on certain stuff and to go right to work on it and go right back to it and, like, remember what got us here. Remember, you know, why we love Iowa State, why we love being here, like, the root of all the joy of it, really. And, you know, I don't want the cop-out to be like we're just, you know, we're a hair off to make ourselves feel better because, like, we lost 3 games and we are underachieving on offense. That's my job and my responsibility. So, like, you understand that and you take that pill, but what are the answers? Because, you know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So, like, how can we practice just a little bit different? How can we, you know, meet just a little bit different and just find something that we could sink our teeth into to help us grow and get better? Because that's the only way to do it. You know, I'm not much of like a, you know, well, we were right there kind of guy. Like, I'm not. Like, I'm sick for the losses, and I'm pissed at myself for a lot of different reasons with it. But for us, you know, just something we can sink our teeth into and be focused and go to work and not worry about the situations of all the different plays or the what ifs of if it doesn't work or doesn't go. You know, like, that's not how I want those guys to play. It's one play at a time, 1 second at a time, and brick by brick, so we could build something special, which we've done. And you know, at Iowa State, like, it's always going to come down to the last drive. There's going to be 3 or 4 plays a game, and they're going to go your way or they're not going to go your way. Last year they did in a couple situations in games that were pretty similar. This year they're not, and we have to find a way to get the ball to bounce our way, and we will.
Coach, you mentioned that some of the tough times you've been in this program for so long, and there's obviously been some of those lows. Is there any lesson that you can take out of any of those past experiences into this year?
Yeah, I think just like the lesson, you know, thinking from like the 2016 and even like the 2022 season when you had so many of those close games that didn't go your way, and like the lesson for me is like to always like kind of look back on, you know, not to sound cheesy, but like what the process is and not get away from like I said, like what got you there, and to just like stay loyal to what we're doing every single day, and to like hug the people here, love the people here, because like that is what makes it special. Like I've got to be with Coach Campbell for 12 years. I've got to be with Rocco for 4 years and Gabe Burkle for 4 years, and got to see these guys grow. Like college football is insane right now, so the hard times make the good times better at Iowa State, and the journey is what's always made this place really, really special. So I know like there will be fruits at some point that we get to really enjoy, and they're gonna feel better because of the hard times. And we're not a group that feels sorry for ourselves here, and it's never gonna be that way. Like Coach Kim always talks about going up the rough side of the mountain. That's the only way that we know how to do it here. But I like being able to enjoy the end or the good times with our guys, knowing that we were able to stick together and overcome hard times and lean into each other when it's not going good, and not point fingers and not be able to, you know, blame other people. Like that's not what we do. the struggle is what makes the highlights here even better.
You talked a little bit earlier about, doing the same thing over and over again is a definition of insanity. I don't want to put words in your mouth and say you're changing your process at all, but you mentioned evaluating the way you're practicing. What are some of those things that you're trying to change this week to get things fixed to where you would like them to be?
Yep, like we added another walkthrough period at the end of practice today. Coach Campbell had a really good idea to be able to do some half-line stuff where we as coaches can go through and just give different looks and just play half-field concepts into the boundary and just work on some timing and some different looks on certain things. So, and it's not huge monumental changes, but just like a couple little things in practice. And then how can we keep football fresh for our guys? Like, because at the end of the season, doesn't matter if you're 7-0 like last year or you're 5-3 and you've lost 3 games in a row. Like, you have to find ways to get your guys excited to come to the facility every day. So, like, we'll do, even in the tight end room, we'll still do like our trivia stuff, and we'll still mess around and eat snacks and make fun of Gabe and do all the things that we normally do, because that's like what makes the meetings fun. And when our players are excited to come to the facility every day, then you'll get the best work out of them. But you don't want there, especially when you've got like redshirt guys that are in the program for the first time and they're on scout team. Like, I was on scout team at a Division II school playing defensive line, getting killed every single day. It's hard. So how can we, keep everybody involved and make everybody excited to come here? And it's a lot of different ways, talking to people, seeing how everybody's doing, just being a guy, being, a locker room dude and talking to everybody and making sure everybody's happy to be here.
You've used the phrase being a hair off. Coach Campbell on Saturday mentioned precision of details. Players have used the phrase execution. How much are some of these changes in practice this week maybe going to help you guys get to the point of executing at the level that you're demanding?
Yeah, we hope that it's a lot. And if it's not, at least like we tried something different. For me and Coach Campbell, we talked like we'd be naive to just have the exact same thing for 4 weeks in a row and not add, maybe some more meeting time or some more time where we could just have Rocco go with the receivers and the tight ends and watch some stuff. Just like a couple, like I said, not drastic changes, but get the guys to hang out with each other around a little bit, and while they're eating, they're watching film. And we're doing something else in practice, just something that those guys can sink their teeth into and we can throw and catch. Or we can go out there and do run-on shields for some certain looks, and we can hit the bag a little bit. We could coach our guys and they could get their hands on something, something that you're not like just watching tape, because there's also like the overload burnout. Like, you won't find a group of guys that watch more tape and watch more game film than our guys do here. Like, and sometimes it's like, hey, like, go watch a movie, like, go do something else, go like, get brunch somewhere, and I don't know, do something else and reset your mind a little bit. So it's all part of it, and it's all stuff that we're trying to figure out where it is, and you don't really know, but I'm always into mixing it up and seeing what kind of funky stuff we can get into.
You mentioned earlier about getting that running game going back to where you guys would like it, and with kind of some of the struggles in the passing game, is the ground game, is that something that can really kind of carry this offense and get it back on track, and maybe what do you do there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're running the football, like, it injects like a mentality throughout your offense, and it brings confidence to the pass game, and it helps like your play action pass game. It helps, like, Coach Campbell's always going to be a big time of possession guy for us here. And we want to be a nasty and physical football team. That's always, from when we had David to when we had Brees. It doesn't matter who we are. Like, the mentality of your football team always starts, in my mind, through the run game. So when we're able to do that, it opens up a lot of doors for our offense, and it certainly takes a lot of pressure off of other areas in the offense as well. But more than anything, like, there's a standard of how we do things here. It doesn't matter if it's a run game or the pass game, and when we're running it really well, like, everybody knows, like, we're playing a certain way. And the pass game guys here, like, our unselfish point, are like, all right, we're running the ball here. Like, when my number gets called in the pass game, like, I got to make sure I'm ready, because that moment's going to come where, like, you have to make a catch, and it's going to change the outcome of the game, because that's just how the games are at Iowa State. So you can never lose track of that in the back of your mind, even when we are running the ball well.
Thank you, Coach. The community here is so supportive of this team and the school. It seems like loyalty is not limited here at Ames. As coaches and players, do you guys feel that when you're out and about in town, regardless of what the outcome of the games are? Like, is the support in this community special? Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think it is special, and the support that we've got here through our tenure here. And I remember still some of the stuff, like, when we first got here and we were down in the end zone the Sunday thing, so many people were like, we want to go to a bowl game, and that was the goal for so many people, and that wasn't really Coach Campbell's goal when we got here. He had his vision set for things a lot higher, and we wanted to make the fan base proud and do it the right way. Coach Campbell's never sacrificed that, even like Sunday in our meeting, like he's rebuilt the program here twice. So there's like a right way to do it and not to do it, and he's not gonna let like the standard slip for, you know, treating people the right way and being involved in the community and giving back to this place, because it is what makes this place special. It's like when we recruit, you know, people, like there's no pro sports teams here, like you're gonna be the big guy on campus no matter where you go. And when I go out with Campbell, luckily for me, like I look almost like everybody else in Iowa, so nobody recognizes me. When we go out with Campbell, he's got like the nice tan and the hair gel going, so he gets recognized a lot more. And you know, he'll take time for everybody in the state that's here. Like that's why he loves it here. It's been a great place for his kids to go to school. Met my wife here. She went to Ames High School. Her dad worked at the library at Iowa State. Like it's such a tight community here, and it means so much. And they're like, I got, you know, everybody else probably in college football is getting like hate tweets, and I still get some of those, but like so many people reach out to me and say great stuff about how close we are. And I'm sick for the fans and our players and team in the community, because we want win and we are close, and they deserve a winner here. And like Coach Campbell's built the expectation here to win football games, and I like to think our offense has built the expectation here that we're going to score points and we're going to go, you know, have to win games however we have to, and when we don't, like we understand that we didn't live up to the standard from our part. So it's such an awesome place to live and raise a family and be around the community, and they care, and it means a lot. And we sell out every single week because like the people like love our kids. It doesn't matter, like there's not another place in America where they announce the kicker Kyle Canardi that the place goes bananas. It's the loudest, like because they love the kicker, they love our players here, and it's awesome. And I never take it for granted. I don't ever like, if we did get booed out there, I'd understand it's because like we're not living up to expectation, and they do so much to support us, like, and I care about what they think, and it's awesome for that reason. It's what makes us different than a lot of other programs and schools.
Last question up front.
Obviously, chemistry takes time to build. How do you feel Rocco and his receivers are at this point of the year, and what do you feel like is behind some of those miscommunications where there's an incorrect route or a misread, and how do you diagnose that at this point of the year?
Yeah, I certainly think like you've seen some ups and downs with it, and the consistency piece is always something that we're trying to figure out how to be better. That's why we kind of got to some of the half line and other ways that we can get those guys to be on the same page. And the depth that we have on our offense is something that is unique probably to the last couple of years, where I feel like we have, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 wideouts that could go in there and playing games. So there is a little bit of variability with the timing and things like that. And for us, like, want Rocco and any of our players to like be confident in the protection, be confident in the timing of the routes, and trust your eyes and not overthink, like, is this person gonna be in the right place at the right time? You know, like, is this person gonna be, you know, is the tackle gonna be with me on my double team if you're one of the tight ends? Like, trust them to be where they're supposed to be and go execute, because if you're worried about someone else, you're not gonna do what you're supposed to do as good as you should be. So for us, like, it's always about, you know, taking care of yourself and being where your feet are, and the reps and being in the right place at the right time. Like, Brett had a drop against Colorado. He's one of the most sure-handed people on our team. We come back to first play, we throw him a double move, and he scores a touchdown. Like, that's who Brett is. There'll still be, you know, things that happen, but the trust and the confidence never wavers in each other. And it can be hard at times when you're going through hard times, but for us, you just have to like circle back on the work and know. The thing that I think helps here is like, I know what Chase Sewell and Townsend and Brett, like, I know what they're doing in the indoor all the time to get it right. They stay after practice, they catch with Rocco. Same thing with our tight end. So when you know how people work, you know the film that they watch, the mistakes don't eat at you, because you know that they care and they're about it for the right reasons. And for us, like, it's just about finding a way to just click just a little bit more and be just an inch on, and we got to figure it out.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you guys.